Hello guys and welcome to my art studio. My name is Miriam. Well, in today's video we are going to paint with some watercolors and do some doodling over it. So I'm quite excited about this one. And I just want to remind you that I have a Facebook group, so if you want to join in and be a part of that community, you can find me there, and I will write down here below where it is. It's called Miriam Thompson Art Studio Community. So if you feel like sharing some paintings from my video tutorials, that's the place it can happen. So I really hope to see you there. But let's get started with this painting. I will guide you step by step, so make sure to follow along all the way through the video. Let's get started. And here you see the colors we're going to use. I'm going to use some red colors, some yellow and orange colors for the flower, some cerulean blue and indanthrene blue, and some shimmering colors as well. I would like some shimmer in this painting. And here are a selection of brushes. I wet the colors before I begin to make it easier to work with. And here you see my sketch. I have taped my paper so I will get a nice crispy white edge when I'm finished. And to begin with, I want to start out painting wet in wet. So I wet the whole paper with a nice large brush. And then I just begin to put color in. Here it's the cerulean blue. I'm painting mainly where the water is in the painting. But I don't mind some of the colors flowing into the leaves or the flower. That's okay. This is quite a light wash, and it will dry up lighter once dry. Here I'm going in with some orange. Yellow orange, you could use yellow ochre or something like that. And then I go in with a red pinkish color, I would call it. I think this is a Carmine. And I'm just placing the colors on the flower mostly, but I don't mind it flowing out into the water as well. It's quite a loose painting, and yeah, here to begin with. And we will continue to work with the colors once it's dry. But now it's just all about getting some colors on the paper. And I'm using my brush to distribute the color. And I also rinse my brush and go in with a damp brush and soften edges. And depending on your paper, the colors will flow good together, or you will need to help them a little bit with your brush. And this paper, the colors are not flowing that well, so I need a little bit help from my brush. Now I'm adding in a little bit of stronger color. I felt I needed some of the yellow in other places of the painting, so I go in with that in some of the corners as well. And now I'm going in with the Indanthrene blue. So I'm working from light to darker color, and I'm just softening the edges with clean water. And slowly beginning to build up the painting. And now, when everything is still wet, I go in with my shimmery blue color. I don't know if you have some of these. Perhaps you have a silver color could work nicely as well, I should think. So yeah, or just perhaps some gold if you have that. That could be working as well. I've done that in another painting. So, but I really like this blue shimmery in all the blue. It gives a nice effect in the water, I think. So now I'm tilting my paper to allow the paint to flow a little bit. And now everything has been allowed to dry completely, and I'm going to work on the flower now. So I wet the petal of the flower, and then I begin to add in some color. And this is a red color, and now I'm looking at the leaf and see what colors do I have on this leaf. And I can see some pinkish red, and I can also see some orange and some Cadium red as well. And then I just add that in. And now I'm staying inside the lines of my drawing. So that's the next step of this painting. We're going to paint in the flower, and we're going to paint in the leaf. And we're going to follow the colors we see on the leaves and on the flowers. And here is the yellow I see, and I'll also see a little bit of cerulean blue. So I add that in, and I'm working wet and wet on the petals and allowing the colors to flow together. And I'm going back and forth with my brush, cleaning the brush and going in with a damp clean brush, and help distribute the color inside the petal of the flower. And I will continue like this on all the petals of the flower. So yeah, you can just do the same, and then I'll come back. And now I have completed the flower, as you can see here, and I think it looks quite pretty. And then I will continue with the leaves in the water. And like before, I will wet the area where I'm going to work, and then I will look at the colors that's already there that I put in the beginning of the painting, and then I'll just put in some more colors in that color. Like you see here, I can see there's some blue on the paper, and then I go in with a stronger mix of blue. And I soften the edges with a clean damp brush. And here I see some red, so I find some red in my watercolor palette, and then I drop that in and make sure that the colors flow together. And sometimes they do it by themselves, and sometimes you need to help it a little bit with your brush. Here I go in with a yellow ochre, I believe it is. And I see that on the paper, so I put that in as well, just in a stronger mix. This is how I will work with the flower and with the leaves in the painting. And here I just felt like there should be a little bit of shimmering, so I go in with my blue shimmering color and drop that in. Still working wet and wet, so that the colors will flow together. And here you can see I'm painting the stems I see in the water with quite a strong mix of the Indanthrene color. And I'm also painting the shadow I see the flower has cast in the water. And I do that with quite a strong mix as well of the Indanthrene blue. Yeah, and I'm just staying inside the lines I drew in my reference drawing. Or my sketch, it's called. And here's another stem in the water that I'm painting in with the Indanthrene blue. And now I'm working wet and dry, so that the colors won't flow together, because I think it's quite important to have these lines in the painting. Yes, and now we will continue with the next step, which is to add some shimmery colors and to go in with some Posca pens. I have a white and a gold fine liner and another gold Posca pen. And now we are going to doodle on the painting. And I go in with my gold fine liner and beginning with the petals of the flower. And I just draw in some lines, as you can see me do here. And I'm going to do that on all the petals of the flower. It will give quite a nice effect in my opinion. I really love these doodle paintings. I think they are creative and beautiful, and a little bit different than what you usually see watercolors are like. So yeah, and it's very creative, and you can just use your imagination. You could also, if you need some inspiration on how to doodle, you can of course do the same that I'm doing here, but you could also go to Pinterest and look up doodling and see different kinds of ways to doodle. So, but I will continue to decorate all the petals of the flower, and you can do the same, and then we will continue with the next step. And here you get a close-up of what I'm doing on the petals of the flower. I hope you can get a good idea of how I'm decorating the petals. So this is just really nice and relaxing. So remember to enjoy yourself and drink a nice cup of coffee or a good cup of tea, and just enjoy the process and the decorating. And now I have finished the flower, I will continue with the leaves in the water. And I draw in some lines like you see me do here. And then I begin to draw some circles like this. This is how I chose to decorate the leaves. You can do it in a completely different way if you prefer that. Actually this looks a little bit like a spider web. So yeah, if you prefer to do it in another way, you can do that. But I quite like this effect, so I'm going ahead and working like this. So then I begin to make some marks inside the lines I've just made, like you see here. I like quite a lot of details in my doodle paintings. So yeah, there'll be many details in some places and not so many in other places. And here I'm using a thicker gold gold pen it's called, and just making some thicker lines. I just wanted the lines to be more defined. And here I go into the middle of the flower and draw in the stamens. And I do that with a thicker gold pen. And here I continue to decorate the leaf with my fine liner gold pen. And now I have picked up my Posca gold pen and I draw in some more lines on the leaf, like you see here. Like that. Quite love that. And then I will continue with the next leaf, and I do the same as before. Draw some lines, and then I will make some circles around them as well. And perhaps I won't make as many details as before, and I'm also doing it a little bit different on this leaf. And then I have picked up my gold fine liner and I'm adding a little bit more details like this. It's all about decorating, relaxing, enjoying the process, and just, yeah, have a good time. So yeah, and sometimes you need a little bit of practice, and then you will find out what you like and what you don't like. But we learn from all the paintings we make. And I have a cabinet full of old paintings, but I've learned something from each and every one of them. So yeah, don't give up hope. Just continue, and especially if you are a beginner, yeah, just go ahead and you'll get an idea. The more you practice, the better you will learn things and learn how to do things. So yeah, and just enjoy it. It's not so much, I think, about making very beautiful paintings. That will come with time and experience, but it's also a lot about enjoying the process. Now I want to work on the water, so I take a larger brush and then I wet the area here underneath the flower and the petals. And then I begin to add in some of the cerulean blue, just to darken things a little bit. And I also go over the yellow part you see here with the blue. It's called glazing. So the yellow will shine through because watercolors are transparent. So yeah, and you can get quite some nice effect from that. And I'm just darkening the whole thing a little bit, but it's still quite a watery mix. I don't want it to be too dark because we have the shadow area under the flower. So yeah, it shouldn't be too dark, but a little darker. So I also want the lower part of the painting to be a bit darker than the upper part of the painting. So I'm making sure to soften all the edges. Now I want to go in with some of my shimmery colors. So I'm just spraying them so they are easier to work with. This is kind of a yellowish shimmering color. And I go in with that here in the corner where the yellow was before. And now I'm going in with a little bit of shimmery blue. And I just put it in here in the water, as you can see me do. And then when everything is dry, I go in with my white Posca pen and make some marks in the lower part of the painting. And they are actually just lines. I just draw in lines. And I follow what I see on the paper where the watercolor has made some marks. I try to follow that. And now I'm going in with my Posca gold pen, and then I'm outlining the leaves with the gold pen. I just felt it needed a little something. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. And I'm just taking a good look at my painting and see if I think it needs a little something. And I felt like drawing in some gold lines to show that there are stems underwater from these water lilies. They have stems underwater, so I drew that in. And now I'm making some lines in the corner because I felt it needed a little something. And as you can hear, I say I felt it needed a little something. So it's much about intuition when you are drawing and painting like this. So, and now I just wanted to enhance this shadow area a little bit. I felt like it was disappearing a little bit, So I go in with a stronger mix of the Indanthrene blue and just draw in or paint in the shadow area again. And here I'm adding in a little bit of shimmering colors. And at this point I felt like the painting was finished, so I took my hairdryer and removed the masking tape. But next day I took a look at the painting again, and yeah, I had to paint some more on it. Sometimes it's a good idea to leave your painting for a while and then come back and take another look at it. And I did that the next day, and I just felt like the middle of the flower needed a little something. So I'm going in with a dark orange to define the stamens in the middle of the flower. I felt like they had disappeared. Even though I went in with some gold pen, I didn't feel like it was quite enough. So I just go in and enhance that bit part of the painting a little bit. And the next thing was that I also wanted to have a little bit of shadow underneath the leaves in the water, because it looks more natural in some ways. So even though it's not a natural painting, I just felt like that could enhance the painting a little bit. So I went in with I actually believe it's the Cerulean blue, and I painted in some shadow, and I soften the edges with a clean damp brush, and I do that over here as well. And here I paint in some more underwater stems as well. And yeah, now I feel the painting is complete, and this is how we ended up. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you're sitting with a beautiful painting at home. Hope to see you again in another video. Be well, and bye for now.